right, good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, wherever you may be. Thank you for joining me tonight. Good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining me tonight on Meaningful Conversations. I think we got a good one tonight. We're going to talk about discipline and consistency and how both of those words work together um, to create success. All right, we're going to give folks a few moments to jump on with us. Won't be long tonight, hopefully. Haven't been feeling too well the past few days, but feel like I'm on the mend, getting better. Thank you for your prayers and support and outreach. All right. So tonight on Meaningful Conversations, we're going to talk about discipline and how important discipline is and consistency, kind of define what consistency is, what discipline is. And we're going to talk about how both of those words working together shape lasting, uh, enduring success. You know, Pat, we've been talking about passion and purpose the past couple of weeks, and passion is powerful, but without some sort of structure put to your passion, it'll fade away. You'll get discouraged. You'll lose interest. Interest will wane, if you will, because it's simply passion, right? But anything that we're passionate about, we have to put some structure to it. For instance, when our children tell us that they interested in playing a sport or playing an instrument, what we do is we get them the instrument, but we also get them someone that will tutor them, someone that will teach them in sports. If they want to play football, we put them in the local recreation league so they can learn how to play the sport properly, you know, the nuances of it, the techniques of it, right? So we put structure around the things that our children are interested in. Same thing with us as we develop a career, as we decide what we want to do for a living. What do we do? Some of us go to college and we say, okay, I want to be an accountant. So you go to college and that's building the structure. You know, the classes that you take, it's showing you how to be an accountant, a CPA, an engineer, a nurse, whatever it is that you pursue. If you decide you want to be a plumber, an electrician, a carpenter, what do? We go and become an apprentice. We get in a program where we get a certification, setting a structure. So a lot of times we run off with what we're excited about, what we have passion about, but we have no structure. And without structure, you know, when things come up, obstacles come up, we give up after a period of time because we don't have the structure around how do we overcome those obstacles. So tonight we're going to talk about learning how our daily habits will sustain our motivation. It'll strengthen our focus and lead to long-term success and achievement. From the research tells us that consistency is the secret to turning purpose into progress. The things that we have passion about, things we feel we're called to do, we have a purpose for. When we get consistency in place, we'll start to see progress. Our passion, our purpose begin to move forward. So we're going to explore how to live, how to lead, and how to grow with this passion and this purpose. We're going to talk about the power of discipline and consistency. Passion may ignite the fire, but discipline keeps it burning. I'll say that again. Passion may ignite the fire, but discipline is what's going to keep it burning. So according to a study by Duke University a few years ago, people with consistent habits are twice as likely to achieve their long-term goals. This study by Duke University a few years ago, What they learned is that those who have consistent habits are twice as likely to achieve their long-term goals. If you don't have consistent habits, you're probably not going to succeed. I'll use another college example. If you go when you go to college, you have classes, and you have to be consistent, right? You have to go to your classes, so you can learn the information that you need, the instructions for study for different projects that are assigned. You have to go to the class to get all of that information in place, right? So when you're consistently going to class, you're consistently doing the projects, not turning some in, not turning a few in, no, turning all of your projects in on time, being at class consistently, generally you're going to do well. I mean, even if you're not excelling necessarily in the material, your professor, your instructor will see the energy and effort and will put some time aside to bring you into their office to give you some coaching, give you some mentorship. But those who are inconsistent, they come to class sporadically, they rarely or turn in their assignments without following the directions completely, all of those sorts of things, you're probably not going to do well. So it's all about consistency, right? I mean, going to work. I generally, I like to be at work early. I like to be able to be settled, get, my to-do list going, check in with team members, see if there's anything new that happened since the last time we were together, instead of rushing. A lot of us, we rush to get to work. We get there late. We get there at the last moment. And now we're rushing to get ourselves settled and figure out what we need to do for that day. And generally speaking, if we operate like that, we're not going to be as successful as someone who's very steady, very consistent in how they approach work and how they arrive to work. That same study by Duke University showed that 45% of daily behavior is driven by habits rather than conscious decision making. I'll say that again. 45% of daily behavior is driven by habits rather than conscious decision making. For me, when I get up in the morning, the first thing I do is I hit the floor, get on my knees. I give the Lord praise, glory, thanking Him, praying for family, all of those things, praying for successful day. David once said, give me success this day. So that's my prayer every morning. Father, give me success this day. I do that every single morning without fail. The other thing I'm pretty consistent with is I make the bed up. It's just in me. I have to make the bed up, get the room in order, get everything in order, get the sheets tucked in good, get the pillows fluffed up and put up on the bed. That's just a consistent behavior that I have. And of course, all of you have some behaviors that you're very consistent with, some things that you're doing consistently. I think that's my wife saying, not me, in terms of making the bed up. Yes, but there are other things that each of us do very consistently every single day. For you, it may be you're going to get a cup of coffee. As soon as you get up, get ready. Before you walk out the door, you're going to have a cup of Joe. That helps you level your day up, helps you get ready for the workload that you have before you. So all of us, we can think about that for a moment. What do you do consistently? And the way you do it consistently is that it's a routine that you do every single day. That's a behavior that you have implemented in your life, and it has created this consistency in your life. So we see 45% of daily behavior is driven by habits rather than conscious decision making. Some things you just don't even need to think about, right? You just know this is a discipline for me. This is something I'm very consistent at. I don't even have to think about doing it. It's just automatic for me. Now just think, if we build discipline around consistent habits, create these behaviors that push us forward and our desire to be an entrepreneur, our desire to get another certification, our desire to excel in whatever it is in our chosen field, some of the things we want to do outside of work, things that we want to create as a hobby, something that helps us relax, that helps us uh, create wellness, if you will, health and wellness in our life. And the American Psychological Association found that individuals who track their progress and set small, repeatable goals are 33% more successful in sustaining new behaviors. Now, this is something we've been talking about for the past several weeks on how we build momentum, how we build passion into purpose or purpose into passion, however you decide to structure that, right? But it just starts with, and I always use that quote, the Chinese proverb, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, right? So according to the American Psychological Association study they did a couple years ago, uh, individuals who track their progress and set small, repeatable, achievable goals are 33% more successful in sustaining new behaviors. We get ourselves in trouble, for instance, good illustration, and we're coming up on that time of year where folks start making New Year's resolutions. And we make a resolution, I'm gonna become a vegan. I'm gonna exercise every day. I'm gonna get cardio in. I'm gonna lift weights. We get all of these things that we declare that we're gonna do, and in most cases, it's not attainable because it's not those small incremental steps, those small incremental goals that we set that we can reach. So, for instance, a good New Year's resolution is okay. At the beginning of the year, I'm going to eat a couple of vegan meals a week. I'm going to cook a couple of vegan meals a week. That's an attainable goal. That's repeatable. That's something that you can set and create a behavior around it, right? Get your supplies at the beginning of the week, and your food, and prepare a meal on Monday, Tuesday, whatever it is. Eat that for a day or two. Then on Thursday or Friday, I'm preparing another vegan meal. In between, maybe I'm eating something else. Maybe I'm having a piece of chicken or fish or whatever the case may be. But those are attainable goals. You want to go to the gym. I want to work out. Instead of saying I'm going every day, how about let's start by doing 2 days a week. One day we doing cardio. The next day we doing weight training. And then you can grow that from there. You see, after a few months, man, I've been consistent. I'm building a behavior. I'm getting to the gym, every week, twice a week. I'm on Tuesdays, I'm doing cardio. On Thursdays, man, I'm working. I'm lifting weights. And man, I've already started doing 2 days of vegan diet, or whatever the case may be that you want to do for a diet. And as you see yourself begin to progress and grow and develop, you're setting discipline, you're creating discipline, you're creating consistency, and that's going to develop a behavior in your life. So 33% of people are more successful in sustaining those new behaviors when they take those small incremental steps, set those small incremental goals. We get in trouble when we jump out there in that deep water and we're not prepared mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever the case may be. We're not even prepared for it. And we set in our mind, we're going to reach this lofty goal. And that's not sustainable. I believe we can all agree to that. And please jump in if you have some things you want to share with us about some of the things that you've done consistently, some of the things that you've set discipline in your life, and now you can see where it's now part of your natural behavior. One of the things I want us to take a look at is why passion fades without structure. I mentioned that at the very top as we started the podcast. Why does passion? It seems like passion would be able to carry you and take you through. And just now I thought about one of my favorite movies back in the 80s was King Arthur. And there was this scene in there with Merlin the magician. And King Arthur's father, I can't remember what his name was, Uther Pendragon or something like that. He wanted this other king's wife. He was going to fight against this king, take his kingdom, and he wanted the man's wife, right? Well, anyway, Merlin takes him to this cliff. There's fog. Merlin tells him the dragon has breathed this fog, so he can go in the fog and sneak into this man's castle and have a night with his wife. And he said something that I'll never forget. He told him to ride his horse over this cliff. And he said, but the cliff, the rocks, the sea. And Merlin told him, he said, your lust will carry you. He was saying your passion will carry you across the ocean, over this cliff to do, this bad thing, right? Well, anyway, if you know the movie, everything turned out bad. War broke out because he, did what he did, so on and so forth. But passion can only take us so far, right? So we have to have some structure in place to be able to continue to grow and develop. So passion sparks motivation, but structure sustains it. We mentioned that earlier. Yes, King Arthur. Yes. Emotion without a plan leads to burnout. So, you can only stay high emotionally for so long, right? You're gonna burn out. You're gonna get tired. But when you put plans in place, you can avoid burnout. So instead of being, just on cloud nine 24/7, you have certain times of the day where you experience those emotional highs. You have a plan in place. For instance, those who are gamers, you can't be at your emotional peak, your concentrational peak, if you will, all day. So gamers, there's certain times of the day that they know they can be most focused, and that's when they get on and they game, and they win the games that they focus on, that they develop and grow in. So we have to make sure we have a plan, because if we don't have a plan, we're going to burn out. Discipline is basically a daily decision, right? It's a daily decision. Consistency isn't perfection. I put that in my notes for a reason. Consistency doesn't mean because you're doing it over and over and over, doesn't mean that it's perfect. I can tell you, when I get up and make that bed up, I try my best to make sure it's even on both sides. But I tell you, 9 times out of 10, when I go back and look at it, something is off. It's very rarely, probably never perfect. However, I'm consistent in doing it each and every day. So consistency isn't perfection. It's showing up even when it's inconvenient, right? It's showing up when it's inconvenient. I used to, when I was pastoring many years ago, I used to tell our church all the time, it's not based on how you feel, it's an act of the will, right? So a lot of times you just don't feel. You don't feel like going to work. Our kids don't feel like going to school, but we will to do it. So it's not based on how we feel. It's always going to be an act of the will. Somebody might want to write that down and put it on a sticky somewhere. And something that you're not being very consistent with, something that you struggle with, put that note somewhere. It's not based on how I feel. It's an act of the will. I just need to will myself to do this, right? That same study by Duke University showed that, successful leaders, they are disciplined leaders, and they usually structure their mornings and priorities and where they're going to place their energy. Successful leaders in this study. Disciplined leaders who are consistent, leaders who have created a certain behavior, certain level of behavior. What they do is, this is a note to jot down, they structure their mornings. They're not haphazard, right? They structure their mornings. I'm going to have a half a grapefruit, a piece of toast with some jam, jelly, preserves, whatever it is. And then I'm going to go walk a couple of miles. I'm going to check my email when I get back, take a shower, then head to the office or whatever the day is. They structure their morning. They prioritize things that need to happen that day each morning, right? Now, for me, I try to do that at night. And most times when I get up in the morning, I have to adjust that because something has happened, right? Overnight, early that morning, that changes the schedule that we may have put forth. But successful leaders, disciplined leaders, consistent leaders, leaders who have created successful behaviors, they structure their mornings, they put their priorities in order, and they decide, where am I going to place my energy, right? And a number of you work in jobs where you deal with a lot of different people, maybe a lot of different business units, and you're going to need a certain energy to deal with a certain leader in a business unit, or maybe someone who's a team member who's pretty difficult to work with. You got to know how to prioritize your energy. Okay, I'm not going to deal with that today. We're going to deal with this on Thursday, Friday, next week, whatever the case may be. But I'm not giving my energy to this on this particular day at this particular moment. So successful leaders, they structure their mornings, they put their priorities in place, and they know exactly where they want to focus their energies. The compound effect of small wins. We're looking for the big win, right? We played the lottery. We're trying to win that 900 million. I think it was 900 million recently, or billion recently. We're trying to hit that big one, right? We're trying to get the big fish. But the average person is going to be successful by attaining small wins. Okay. Having some obstacles in front of us, overcoming each obstacle. You can do it as the most difficult obstacle or the least difficult obstacle. It just depends on your particular character traits, if you will. Some of us, we like dealing with the tough stuff first and then take it easy dealing with the other stuff. Some of us like to take the easier tasks and work up to the bigger tasks. But the effect of compound those small wins is tremendous on us psychologically. It's tremendous on us emotionally. It's tremendous on us physically when we get those small wins under our belts. So, tiny actions that we take daily, they create major results over time. And we've kind of talked about this over the past couple of weeks. So we want to have a do it daily mindset versus a do it perfectly mindset. That's what hinders a lot of us, man. We're trying to do it perfectly. I know I have challenges with that from time to time, just trying to do everything so perfect when we just need to have, I'm going to do it daily, right? I'm just going to be consistent and I'm going to get better at it each and every day. It's like an athlete, a basketball player. He's going to get out there and take them shots every single day. He's going to get shots up. She's going to get shots up every single day. Whether it's at the free throw line, it's at the corner, top of the key, at the elbow, in the post, whatever the case may be. You're just going to get shots up and continue to improve and make that a consistent, disciplined activity that's going to create a behavior. I want to hear see your feedback on that. If anyone has anything they want to contribute to that, add to some of the successes you've had with those small compound wins, some of the things that you've done. The other thing is building habits. We got to build habits that actually stick to us. Sometimes we're trying to build habits that the chances are slim to none that they actually stick, that we actually continue to do those types of things over a long period of time. I use an example, people saying, okay, my New Year's resolution, I'm going to be a vegan. You can do it. It's very possible. Remember, it's not how you feel. It's an act of the will. You can will yourself, and then it becomes a natural behavior And the next thing you know, you're vegan. But for a number of us, it's not that simple. We might be a vegan for a month, for a quarter, for half a year, for a year, even a couple of years. Um, and I've seen it happen even in my life where I've done, the vegan thing for a year. I've done it for a couple of years, done it for several months, so on and so forth. I hope that's a good example, a good illustration. So we gotta build habits that stick. Start small. I want to stress that how we need to really just start small. Stop, going swinging for the fences. Stop trying to catch the big bluefin tuna. You may need to work on trying to catch a redfish first, or something like that. So start small. Focus on identity-based habits, and tell yourself, "I'm a disciplined person. I will be a disciplined person. I'm working toward being a disciplined person." Create systems, not necessarily goals. Put a structure in place that supports who you want to become. Put structures in place that support who you want to become, right? So a structure is for instance, we're talking about, changing our diet. Put a structure in place where you put a list together of the necessary things that you need from the grocery store, and the things that will cause you to get in trouble at the grocery store, stay off of those aisles. Find out where the aisles are, where they got, the cookies and whatever it is, potato chips, ice cream, and you stay your butt off of that aisle. Put some structures in place that will support who you want to become, right? If you're going to join a gym that has like 24-hour fitness. Some gyms are open at a certain time in the morning and close in the evening. You might need 24-hour because of the way you work, your schedule with the children, your schedule with your spouse, the things that you have to do. And you may need to go earlier. You may need to go later, but you need to put structures in place that's going to support who you want to become, right? So I have a couple questions for you as well, and I'm gonna close out here shortly. The first question: what's one small habit that helps you stay grounded every day? One small habit. One small habit. Anybody want to jump in and share? One small habit. Meditating. Yes. Yes. Meditating. Meditation. Meditation, to ponder, to think, to gaze upon, right? Yes. Great habit. Great habit. Just something small that we do every single day that helps us stay grounded. Journaling. Yes. Journaling is, I can't stress journaling enough, Dr. K. I hope that's something you'll be talking about, or you have already talked about, excuse me, on your podcast, Unleashed, the importance of journaling. Matter of fact, earlier, before I got on tonight, I was looking for my journal, to see something I had written a couple of months ago as I prepare for my brothers and sister-in-laws and friends to come in town this weekend. I journaled some stuff that I wanted to be able to share with them, and I was looking for that journal that I put that in before I came on. But yes, journaling is so important. Meditating, that's a good one. Anybody else, or any other things that we do? Those small habits that keep us grounded each and every day. For me, one of the things that I always look to do is I want to treat the people that I'm around. I want to really be kind to them. I want to say something kind to them. I want to uplift them in some way, just by speaking to them. Hello, good morning, have a wonderful day. If I can support you in any way, let me know on the job. you know, in the community in which we live and play and work and all those things. So for me, of course, prayer is one of those habits that keeps me grounded. And then just making sure, the people that I'm around, excuse me, I'm constantly uh, trying to uplift them in some way, encourage them in some way. Okay, sitting. My wife, Michelle, says sitting still and relaxing. Yes. Yes, that is a small habit that will keep us grounded because our jobs can grind us, right? We're trying to stay grounded, but if we don't sit still for a moment and just relax our mind, breathe deeply, that job will consume us. Let's see. Dr. Casey, I recorded a podcast Tuesday about how I start my day, journaling, meditation, and exercise. Are you able to share that link in the chat with us, Dr. K, to the podcast that you recorded on Tuesday? Is that something that'll be released on Thursday, maybe? If not, yes. If you're able to share that with us in the chat, share that link with us so we can go and take a look at that. Yes, Diane says, read the Word. Yes, my goodness, reading the Word of God. You got to get something out of it every day. Got to get something out of it every day, right? People would ask me all the time, and how should I study the Word of God? And I tell them, hey, read something from the first five, the Pentateuch, the first five books of the Bible. Read, a couple of scriptures from there each day. Read something in the books of poetry, the Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes. Read a couple of scriptures in there each day. Read something from the major prophets. Those are the big prophetic books, the Isaiahs, the Jeremiahs, the Ezekiels. Read something from the minor prophets. That's the smaller books like Micah and Obadiah. Read something from the Gospels. And read something from the Pauline letters. Just read a little bit of something from each text each day. And before you know it, you will have read the entire Bible in a year. That's how we used to do it when I pastored. We would have a schedule that you could read each day, and we would find our way reading through the Word of God for the entire year, getting through the entire book. Yes, sure. Okay, my wife says she don't do that enough. Which one is that? Reading the Word or something else that we talked about? Okay, thank you, everyone. Question number 2. When has passion alone failed to carry you forward? Something you were passionate about, but you realize, yes, she said, reading the Word. Yes. What's a passion that you had, and that passion alone failed to carry you forward? Think about that for a minute. You had a passion about something, but it wasn't able to sustain you. It didn't carry you forward. And I can tell you why it didn't carry you forward, because you didn't put structure in place to create discipline, consistency, to develop the behavior. That's what I've learned over my lifespan and the things that I've studied in leadership. We gotta put a structure in place so we can create consistency, discipline that will create the behavior that we're looking for. Anybody? A passion that you started out with, you said, man, I'm passionate about this. Next thing you know, it waned. You forgot about it, put it on the back shelf. I'll pick it up later, or just completely moved on from it. But you were so excited about it, had so much passion about it. Okay, my oldest brother, Alvin, came on. He says writing and drawing. Yes. I tell you, writing. If you're passionate about writing, man, you got to put a structure around writing. If you're going to complete something, a book, a novel, a journal, an article, whatever it is, you got to put a structure in place where, I'm going to do some research every day on a certain subject, write some notes down, and at the end of the week, I'm gonna put a paragraph together, right? That's the structure I put in place. That creates consistency, it creates a discipline, and now it's a behavior over a period of time. And the next thing you know, each week you've written a chapter for a book, if that's your goal. You've written an article that you may want to publish somewhere, whatever the case may be. But yes, putting that structure in place is what's going to create consistency, discipline, as well as the behavior that we're looking for. Yes, my wife says starting a board and care. A board and care. I know what it means, baby, but if you want to put some more into that to give some more meat to it so we can understand, everyone else can understand better what that means. Dr. K says dating. That's an interesting one. That's an interesting one. So you will have had a passion for dating, but then it couldn't carry you forward. And I'm assuming you're talking about an individual that you may have been dating, and you were passionate about dating this person, and then the interest just kind of waned, and it was like, I lost interest. Or is it dating overall? It was like, you know what? I'm passionate about getting out there, dating, putting myself out there, finding a partner, finding love. And after a while, with so many disappointments, it's like, you know what? That passion is gone. Let me just work on the stuff that I want to work on. Yes, I knew that's what you meant. A place for Michelle, my wife, a place for seniors who can't afford expensive nursing facilities. I knew that's what you meant. Excuse me. Thank you for that. Two more questions. The third one, what routines could you create this week to bring more structure to your goals? What routines could you create this week to bring more structure to your goals? Think about that. That may not be something you can answer right now, right off the cuff, but think about that question this week. What routines could you put in place? Could you create this week to bring more structure to you accomplishing and completing your goals? If it's exercise, I tell you a routine you can create. You can start going on YouTube and looking at some tutorials on working out, just looking at experts and, them talking about how to do that, how to start, how to maintain, how to, reach those peaks and how to maneuver through the valleys as you get on your exercise journey, your health and wellness journey, however you want to term it, call it, name it. That's one way of creating a routine, right? That will bring structure to your goals. So you'll see, one particular fitness guru talks about, your diet, certain aspects of your diet in the morning, what you should eat, lunch, dinner, or however it's structured. They'll tell you what type of cross training shoes you should wear, what type of, workout gear you maybe should get to help you in, whatever it is that you're looking to accomplish. But those are some of the routine. That's just one sample of a routine that you can start this week, and that'll bring some structure to your goals. Last question. How can consistency help you rediscover your purpose or your passion? How could consistency help you rediscover your purpose? And that's a pretty tough one too. That's something we have to think about. I see Ria. Ria says, I started a 7-minute workout with Meredith Schwerk, I think it is. Okay. See, that's small incremental steps, 7 minutes instead of 70 minutes, right? Just jumping out there, 70 minutes. I'm going to do 70 minutes. 7 minutes turns into 14, 21, so on and so forth. Okay. That's a really good example. Really good example. Yes, on YouTube. Okay, on YouTube. I can remember I used to when we were living in San Jose. Michelle and I would get on YouTube and look at some yoga instructors, and just in the living room with the YouTube on the TV, YouTube, just go through some of those yoga exercises, just stretching and learning how to breathe and all of those sorts of things. All right. So that last question, that's something you can think about. How can consistency help you rediscover your purpose? Everyone, thank you for being on tonight. Please, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, like, follow, share, help us grow the YouTube channel. You know, we got some things coming up. We want to bring on some guests uh, to help us in some areas, really give us some insight as we continue to build our community. You know, here at Meaningful Conversations, we want to have meaningful conversations, not just, you know, haphazard stuff. We want to talk about stuff that's really going to impact our communities, put, you know, some processes and systems in place to help us do those things. So I see Dr. K said team meetings and check in with the partners I'm working with. It's accountability, excuse me, for remote work. Yes, yes, absolutely. 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 Great time tonight. Hopefully you gained something from what we talked about tonight. Yes, because you're able to measure your goals. Oh, that's something we need to talk about, Dr. K. Measuring goals, right? We do all sorts of things, but we don't have any tools in place to measure what we're doing, to measure success. And that's how large corporations, successful leaders operate. They need to be able to measure what they're doing, right? They'll be able to measure success and also be able to measure failure so you won't go down that road again. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Please subscribe on Facebook. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe to the channel, like, hit that bell so you'll be reminded of when we go live. We go live every Wednesday at 7 o'clock Pacific time. That's 9 Central, 10 Eastern. And we're looking forward to, you know, bringing some really good guests on here in the next several weeks. And I appreciate you all. And I'll see you next week. Okay. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.